History is written by the victors. But what about the history they chose not to write? Deep beneath the cobblestones of Vatican City, behind walls that have stood for centuries, lies the Vatican Apostolic Archive. 53 miles of shelving, 12 centuries of secrets. They tell us it's open to scholars. They tell us transparency has replaced secrecy. But in January 2025, Dr. Elena Rossi, a historian with impeccable credentials and 20 years of experience, walked into a restricted section she was never meant to see. What she found wasn't just another medieval manuscript. It was a countdown, a prophecy, and a warning about March 2026. This is Case File 1294. And this is the story they don't want you to know. Before we dive deep into this mystery, ask yourself, why would the Catholic Church, an institution that claims to represent ultimate truth, hide documents from the world? What could be so dangerous that it's been locked away for over 7 centuries? And most importantly, what happens on March 17th, 2026? By the end of this video, you'll understand why this date may change everything we know about human history. But I warn you, once you see the evidence, you can't unsee it. Let's begin. Dr. Elena Rossi wasn't a conspiracy theorist. She was a respected medieval historian from the University of Rome, specializing in papal documents from the 13th century. She had spent 3 decades earning the trust of the Vatican, published dozens of peer-reviewed papers, and had been granted special access, a privilege reserved for only the most trusted scholars. For 6 months, she worked in the archives without incident, reviewing standard historical records. Until that rainy Tuesday afternoon in January 2025, when she was handed catalog number ASV_1294_C5_restricted.
The manuscript was attributed to Pope Celestine V, the only pope in history to voluntarily abdicate, stepping down in December 1294. The official church records say he retired to a monastery and died 2 years later. But the document Elena held was dated 1295, a full year after his supposed abdication. That was strange enough, but what made her hands tremble was what she read inside. Written in an intricate cipher combining Latin, ancient Hebrew, and astronomical symbols, was a phrase that repeated throughout the text: Anno Domini MMXXVI. The year of our Lord, 2026. The manuscript described what it called a convergence of celestial bodies, scheduled for March 17th, 2026. It spoke of a moment when, quote, "The veil between what is known and what is hidden shall tear asunder, and the Church must prepare to reveal what has been kept in shadow for 7 centuries. 7 centuries from 1294 brings us to 2026. Elena began transcribing frantically. The cipher wasn't random. It was a deliberate encoding system, and buried within it were references to other documents, described in riddles. Beneath the floor where Peter's successor first denied himself. Within the wall where the artist's final breath was captured. These weren't catalog numbers, they were clues. As closing time approached, Elena felt eyes on her back. Father Marco, her Jesuit liaison, appeared in the doorway. His expression was unreadable. When he noticed what she was studying, his jaw tightened. "Medieval prophecies," he said casually, too casually. "Most proved to be apocalyptic fantasies." But Elena saw through it. She wasn't studying a fantasy. She was studying a blueprint. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. She worked through the cipher at her apartment near Piazza Navona. The astronomical symbols began to make sense. They weren't decorative. They were actual coordinates and calculations describing a planetary alignment that occurs only once every 780 years. But the implications were even more disturbing. The manuscript suggested the Church had known about this alignment for centuries and had been preparing for it. And the knowledge didn't originate from Christianity. It predated it, possibly by thousands of years. At 3:17 a.m., remember that time, her phone buzzed. An email from an address she didn't recognize. antiquarian.1294@protonmail.com. The message read, "You found the first thread. Be careful pulling it. Some truths are kept hidden for good reason. The Celestine document is only the beginning. If you wish to understand, look for the Prophecy of the Seven Seals in the Restricted Mathematics Collection. Access code 1817. Destroy this message." But here's what's terrifying. How did anyone know what she had discovered? The archives were supposed to be secure, unless they had been watching her from the very beginning. Unless this was exactly what they wanted her to find. Elena spent 3 days researching. The access code, MDCCCXVII, was 1817 in Roman numerals. That year, Pope Pius VII returned to Rome after being imprisoned by Napoleon. It was a year of restoration and mystery. Historians know that several unknown consultants were brought to the Vatican from across Europe, scholars of mathematics, astronomy, and ancient languages. Their purpose was never recorded. Elena needed help. She contacted Giorgio, a former Vatican maintenance worker who knew the archive's underground passages. Over espresso in a shadowy cafe, he handed her a key and a map. "I don't know what you're looking for," he said, "but I know the Church. They don't hide things unless they're afraid of them." 2 a.m. The rain was heavy, providing cover. Elena stood outside the Vatican walls, questioning everything. But she had come too far to turn back. The key turned smoothly, too smoothly. She slipped inside. The corridor was dimly lit by emergency lights, casting shadows that seemed alive. Every sound made her freeze. The settling of ancient wood, the distant rumble of Rome at night, the possibility of a guard around every corner. She navigated using the mental map she'd memorized during her authorized visits, moving deeper into the labyrinth. And then she saw it. A door partially hidden behind a Baroque column. Above it, barely visible in the dim light, was a small brass plaque engraved with numbers, 1817. The door opened easily, too easily. Either this was a trap or someone wanted her to find what was inside. The room was small, barely larger than a closet, filled with manuscripts in protective cases. She scanned the labels frantically, and then she found it. Prophetia Septem Sigilorum, anonymous, circa 200 BCE, translated 1817. 200 years before Christ. She carefully opened it, and what she read changed everything. This wasn't a Christian prophecy. It was something far older. The text described cyclical events tied to astronomical phenomena, events occurring every 780 years that brought what it called moments of awakening, when humanity's collective consciousness expanded dramatically. The manuscript listed these moments throughout history. Around 400 BCE, the golden age of Greek philosophy, birth of Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Years 0 through 100 CE, the emergence of major world religions, Christianity, Buddhism's spread, Jewish diaspora. 1400 CE. The Renaissance begins in Florence. Art, science, and humanism explode across Europe. 1650 to 1700, the Scientific Revolution. Newton, Galileo, the Enlightenment. Each occurred during this 780-year planetary alignment. And the next one? March 17th, 2026. But here's where it gets terrifying. The prophecy listed 7 signs that would appear before the 2026 alignment. Signs that would confirm the convergence was real. Let me read them to you. Sign 1. Unusual solar activity beyond normal cycles. In 2023 and 2024, NASA documented solar flares and geomagnetic storms that defied their models. Sign 2. Discovery of ancient sites that rewrite historical timelines. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the underwater structures off Japan. Sites that shouldn't exist according to our understanding of ancient civilizations. Sign 3. A convergence of global crises forcing unprecedented international cooperation. The pandemic, climate accords, global economic coordination. Sign 4. A signal from deep space repeating in prime numbers. In December 2024, radio telescopes detected exactly this, a signal astronomers still can't explain. Sign 5. A burst of energy from the galactic center. According to the prophecy, this should happen months before the alignment. And Elena was about to discover it already had. That left 2 signs, and both would involve humanity directly. Dr. Rossi, I had hoped you would trust the Church's judgment on what should remain private. Elena spun around. Cardinal Benedetti stood in the doorway. He didn't look angry. He looked resigned, almost sad, like a teacher disappointed in a student he had high hopes for. Your Eminence, Elena managed. I can explain. There's no need, he interrupted. We've been watching you since you found the Celestine document. We've been expecting someone like you. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? The Cardinal told her everything. In 1817, after Napoleon's defeat, Pope Pius VII assembled a secret council. During the wars, countless documents and artifacts had been seized from libraries across Europe. When the Church regained control, they discovered something extraordinary, evidence of ancient knowledge that contradicted established history. Texts describing astronomical events with impossible precision. Prophecies that had proven accurate for 2,000 years. They faced a choice: reveal everything and watch civilization descend into chaos, or preserve the knowledge while protecting humanity from truths they weren't ready to understand. They chose preservation. For over 2 centuries, the Vatican has been running what they call the Convergence Project, a team of physicists, historians, theologians, and scientists preparing for 2026. We're not hiding truth to protect the Church, the Cardinal said. We're protecting humanity from a truth that could destroy them before they're ready to understand it. The Cardinal offered Elena a choice: leave and forget everything, her access revoked but her life unchanged. Or join the Convergence Project and help prepare humanity for what's coming. It would mean keeping secrets, sacrificing academic freedom, becoming part of something that officially doesn't exist. You're a brilliant historian with the courage to seek dangerous truths, he said. That's exactly what we need. Elena had 24 hours to decide, but deep down, she already knew her answer. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed. 6 months later, Elena stood 3 levels beneath the Vatican Observatory in Castel Gandolfo, in a facility that officially doesn't exist. The Convergence Project was real. 37 researchers from around the world, physicists from Tokyo, linguists from Oxford, astronomers from MIT, theologians from Jerusalem. Ancient manuscripts were analyzed using spectroscopy and artificial intelligence. Quantum computers processed astronomical data alongside hand-copied prophecies from Sumerian tablets. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a quantum physicist, showed Elena the breakthrough. We've discovered that during these 780-year alignments, cosmic radiation spikes in specific frequencies. These frequencies interact directly with human neural activity, particularly the areas associated with insight, creativity, and consciousness itself. It's not magic, it's physics we had forgotten. They had been tracking the signs, and then, in September 2025, the alarms sounded. The fifth sign had manifested. Minutes ago, Cardinal Benedetti announced via video feed, his face exhausted. Observatories around the world detected an unprecedented burst of energy from the center of our galaxy. The frequency and pattern match exactly what the prophecies described. The room fell silent. 5 of 7 signs had now manifested. March 17th, 2026 was now just 6 months away. The team accelerated their preparations. Governments were briefed. Scientific leaders were shown the evidence. The time for absolute secrecy was ending. But Elena discovered something the Cardinal hadn't told her. Late one night, Elena received another anonymous message. Check file XJ-1817-Z. The red folder. They didn't destroy everything. She found it in the restricted archives. Inside were documents from 1817, 1960, 1998, and 2018. They told a darker story. Yes, the alignments brought awakening, but they also brought catastrophe. The prophecies spoke of a winnowing, a period after each alignment where those who couldn't adapt to the new consciousness suffered. The fall of civilizations, the collapse of empires, the dark ages between periods of enlightenment, all aftermath of these alignments. The choice humanity faced wasn't whether to accept new truth. It was whether they would survive the process of integration. When Elena confronted the Cardinal, he didn't deny it. "We're not hiding the truth to protect ourselves," he said. "We're protecting humanity from panic that would make the winnowing far worse." February 14th, 2026. The sixth sign appeared. Simultaneous archaeological discoveries across 6 continents, all revealing the same symbol, one that appeared in the ancient prophecies but had never been found in actual artifacts until now. The symbol spread across social media within hours. Theories exploded. Ancient aliens, prehistoric global civilization, proof of Atlantis, government conspiracies. Religious leaders issued contradictory statements. Scientists called for calm. But everyone sensed something significant was approaching. The world was waking up to the fact that history wasn't what we'd been taught. March 1st, 2026, 2 weeks before the alignment. The 7th sign appeared, and it was personal. Billions of people around the world reported having the same dream on the same night. A vision of standing at a crossroads, with one path leading into brilliant, overwhelming light, and another path leading into comfortable, familiar darkness. Each person was asked to choose. No voice spoke the question, but everyone understood it. Will you accept what you've forgotten, or will you retreat into what feels safe? The global reaction was immediate. This was no longer about ancient prophecies or scientific theories. This was affecting everyone, directly and personally. The convergence wasn't coming. It was already here. March 17th, 2026. 3:17 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. The planetary alignment reached its mathematical peak. In the underground facility, Elena stood with her team, monitoring instruments that tracked everything from cosmic radiation to global consciousness patterns. Cardinal Benedetti was there, the Pope himself was there, and then it happened. Elena felt it before any instrument registered it. Not a sound or a light, but a sudden clarity, as if a fog she hadn't known existed had lifted. Around her, others gasped or went still, each experiencing their own moment of realization. The instruments went wild. Cosmic radiation spiked in the predicted frequencies. Global brainwave patterns showed unprecedented synchronization across millions of volunteer subjects. And around the world, humanity began to remember something they had forgotten. In that moment, Elena understood what the prophecies had truly meant. The awakening wasn't about gaining new knowledge, it was about remembering what had always been there, buried beneath layers of cultural conditioning and evolutionary necessity. Humanity had always had the capacity for this awareness. The alignment didn't give them anything new, it simply removed the barriers to what had always been possible. The convergence wasn't an external event imposed upon humanity. It was humanity remembering what it had forgotten. That consciousness itself is far more vast than we've been taught. That history is cyclical, not linear. That every 780 years, we're given a chance to evolve. Next wasn't predetermined. The prophecies were clear about this. The alignment opens a door, but humanity must choose whether to walk through it. In the days and weeks following March 17th, the world watched as people made their choices. Some embraced the awakening, integrating the expanded awareness into their lives, pursuing new forms of cooperation and understanding. Others rejected it, retreating into familiar structures and beliefs, choosing the comfort of what they knew over the uncertainty of what they had glimpsed. The winnowing wasn't a divine punishment or cosmic catastrophe. It was simply the natural consequence of rapid change. Civilizations, organizations, and individuals who could adapt thrived. Those who couldn't faced difficulty. But humanity as a whole? We survived, as we always have. Because the pattern shows us something profound. We fall, but we rise again. And each time we rise a little bit higher. So, what was the Vatican really hiding about 2026? Not a catastrophe, not a conspiracy, but their faith, their centuries-long faith, that when the moment of choice arrived, humanity would choose growth over stagnation, light over darkness, love over fear. The secret wasn't about controlling the revelation, it was about preparing humanity to make the right choice when the time came. And on March 17, 2026, for the first time in 780 years, humanity stood at the threshold of transformation, armed with the wisdom of every previous cycle and the courage to choose their own evolution.
This story is fiction. The Vatican archives contain no such prophecy. March 17th, 2026 is just another day. Or is it? Because here's the thing. The core truth of this story isn't about prophecies or alignments. It's about choice. Every day we stand at a crossroads. Do we choose comfortable ignorance or uncomfortable truth? Do we choose fear of the unknown or curiosity about what we might discover? The real convergence isn't written in ancient manuscripts. It's written in the choices you make today. So I ask you, which path will you choose? If this story made you think, if it opened a door in your mind, hit that like button. Subscribe for more mysteries that challenge what you think you know. And in the comments, tell me, do you believe there are truths still hidden in the world's most secret archives? What would you do if you discovered something that changed everything? Until next time, keep questioning, keep seeking, because the greatest discoveries aren't found in ancient vaults. They're found in the courage to look where others fear to search.